Okay, and that's why they don't respect how hard it is for a man to get laid, because it's in abundance. That's why they can literally complain about how many men compliment them. It's like, oh my God, another guy thinks I'm gorgeous. How can I get on with life? Another man think he just called me gorgeous. Can you believe it? But, you know, people don't respect what they have when it's plentiful. Yo, what is happening, YouTube? It's your boy Bolo, and it's for educational purposes only. Don't mind the voice and the eyes right now. It's like 5 and change in the morning. Just walked the little guy, Lil Bolo. About to go head out to the gym. So that's why I got my hat on, my hoodie, ready to get it in, you know. But I have mixed feelings on the show because I personally think they're mostly cornballs, but a lot of the information that they say is correct. The problem that I have with the show mostly is how they ask a lot of guys to process that information and how they pass that information on to these ladies. Now, first off, personally speaking, I don't think we should be trying to save these women anymore. Most people learn from experience, okay? Man or woman, this isn't a gendered thing. You always hear about the gangbanger changing his life after what? After he got shot the fuck up. When he realized, oh, it's not all those shootings. Yeah, that could happen to me. When it happens, then they're like, oh shit, I think I might need to change my life. Even though they seen it happen to other people, they've been warned about it even before they jumped in that lifestyle, but they think, not me. Or when they're, when they're looking at 50 years, 25 years to life with no parole, when they're looking at that time, all of a sudden they went from no snitching to, I'm gonna take the stand, So we're wasting our breath, which they might know that they're wasting their breath, but they know it's gonna get you there riled up, typing on the keyboard, keeping your eyes fixated, giving them views. So they might know that what they're doing isn't really helpful, in the grand scheme of things, but it's going to keep you locked in. I'm not going to say they do, but I wouldn't be surprised. That being said, if you're going to talk to a woman and try to get your point out to them, you can't use women as the example, because women are capable of thinking logically as long as you don't put something that they're emotionally invested in the equation, okay? And I'm gonna explain it because one thing I understand is that when you talk to a woman, you have to talk in her language. We always talk about how men and women are different fundamentally, which we are. Physically, we're different, and not just bigger muscles, like brain size, brain matter distribution, bone density, literally the shape of your skeleton, the frame. You can literally tell the difference between a man and a woman if you just lined up the bones. We are different in every single way, and your brain wires itself to optimize the physical limitations or advantages that you have. So talking to a woman like if she were a man is stupid. And I always find myself looking at them, or listening rather, to their analogies, and I'm thinking like, of course they're not going to get it, because you're talking to them like if they're a man, and if they're going to process that information as a man. And I will explain right now as we go through the video.
Can I ask you one question? Why aren't you labeled promiscuous?
Because he's a man and not a woman.
Because
Exactly.
well,
And that's the conversation.
I'll keep it
because
simple.
You're men. Why are men
Oh, here we go. Here we
not
go.
taken down
I got it.
as a hoe, and we're whores?
Got it. I have that.
Can I-
Sure.
what's-
Hold on.
what's-
Hey,
what's
hey,
the
hold
term
on.
for you? What's the term for you, boo-boo?
No, check this out. Check this out.
You see, when they start all the boo-boos and stuff, you could tell their blood is boiling. They're already in a defensive position, and they will not let up. We all know that. You know all the sayings, women never lose arguments, and all these other, popular sayings in the society and in the culture in general. Happy wife, happy life. You basically have to bite the bullet, even if you know they're wrong. So let's just go on with the video.
What's the term for you, boo boo? Give it to me.
Well,
The reason why men are
we
studs.
live in
I
a
need you to
patriarch.
really stop interrupting me.
For Donovan, I gotta applaud him because that's exactly how you handle it. You just tell them assertively. You don't beg. You just tell them like, I need you to stop doing that, or stop doing it.
I will stop
Thank you.
listening.
Getting dick for women is easy. People are not praised for doing what's easy. It is very hard for men to get laid. It is not a double standard. It is a different standard.
He's 100% right.
Ergo, men are studs, women are sluts. That's it.
See, but this is the thing. You have to use an analogy because Myron, I notice he uses a lot of analogies and 90% of them are garbage. Because either he uses an object, which now they can say, are you comparing me to that? Or it's just not applicable. You can poke holes in it. It's not apples to apples.
That is not a very good
That's
point.
life.
See, now he should have expanded on it. So this is an example that I use that I've actually had women kind of go, okay, I get what you're saying, because I removed the woman element of it. Now, what I like to do is compare sex to wealth, okay? And what does any rich kid, I don't care if you're a guy or a girl, you get shit for being born with money, right? I always ask people to compare the wealth between Paris Hilton and Diddy or 50 Cent or somebody like that. Whose wealth do you respect more? And 100% of the time, they will always say, oh, P. Diddy. Oh, 50 Cent, I respect his wealth. He had to work hard to get that money. But Paris Hilton was, what do they call them? Trust fund babies. Like, we literally have insults specifically for kids that were born into money. Well, in the sexual marketplace, women are trust fund kids. They are trust fund babies. They are handed everything. But if you keep the whole woman narrative, they can't even grasp what's going on because they're already on defense mode. So you kind of have to use other analogies that actually line up. The problem is that they use analogies that don't always line up, or they use women, which they will dismiss it already because you give them the avenue of the patriarchy and sexism. They can just break out that card just because you involved women. They don't have to actually come to the terms with the fact that what you're saying is true because they have all these outs. You know what I'm saying?
So you can
We live
say
in a
whatever.
patriarchy,
See?
and that's
Here we go.
why.
See, that's why. So if he would have asked her about wealth and why is a rich kid demonized or almost demonized, I would say it's almost to the point. Matter of fact, where I work right now, one of the managers is a young dude and he comes from money. And all of them, especially the women, ironically, the guys, we don't care as much. We're like, hey, whatever, it is what it is. His parents worked hard and that's the future you want to give your kid. So you're getting mad at a trust fund kid, but you would love for your kid to be that trust fund kid. That means you're doing well in life, but whatever. But they talk shit about him because he was born with money. He didn't have to work for it. He went to all these nice schools. He's got a really nice car. He's in his early 20s. But his family is fucking loaded. He hasn't had to work for anything. It was just handed to him. And women will demonize that. Not women, but people, but more often women, I notice, demonize that. So in that situation, it is the same thing. And you can explain that to them when you remove the whole woman card. And they'll digest it, or they'll process it better. At least from what I've experienced.
This is it.
We live in a patriarchy.
We
The
do.
patriarchy has nothing to do. See, here's the thing.
So a
Kessel-
woman, say you
I
have.
get 2 words out and
Say
she
you
interrupts me every fucking time.
No, we're going.
No,
No,
well,
we're not
go
going
ahead.
back
Explain
and
to us how
forth.
we're
Go
in
on.
patriarchy. Go ahead.
So
Sure.
you have sex with 20 women, and then I'm sorry, I forgot your
Devin.
wife. Devin has sex with 20 men.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different views.
Yes.
She's viewed totally different
Yes.
than you because of the media.
No, It's the same reason why men that live off of women are looked at as freeloaders, and women that live off men are called housewives, because we're different. Now, I wouldn't use that example, even though some of the ladies here might be intelligent enough or grounded enough to say, okay, you know what, that does make sense, but most will still be very emotional about it because of the man-woman dynamic that's being included.
And how they programmed
Nope.
us to think about women and men.
Actually, Devin,
I
you want
mean-
to take that?
I mean, I'm as old as
I'd
I
love
am.
to
As
hear
old
it.
as I am, I could walk into a bar and get laid tonight
I mean, she's not ugly, and she has big boobs. I mean, yeah.
without setting up a date, without anything.
That
So-
doesn't matter.
So
Yes, it does. And like I said, if you were to compare it with wealth, because I guarantee all these girls, there's probably a girl they know that woke up and turned 16 and got a Mercedes Benz from daddy, and they resent that girl. They're like, you didn't even have to work for it. And if you bring up something like that, they'll acknowledge their feelings and say, you know what? Okay, I see what you're saying. They might not even agree fully and say, you know what, but that's still not fair. They'll say stuff like that. It's still not fair, but they get it. They understand, and deep down they understand, okay, you know what? That makes perfect sense, because in a different situation, when you remove sex, men and women, I actually have those same feelings for people that have things handed to them. Okay? And this is another truth. People do not appreciate what they have in abundance. Like, people that are born with money do not respect money. They throw it away. Okay, and that's why they don't respect how hard it is for a man to get laid, because it's in abundance. That's why they can literally complain about how many men compliment them. It's like, oh my God, another guy thinks I'm gorgeous. How can I get on with life? Another man he just called me gorgeous. Can you believe it? But, you know, people don't respect what they have when it's plentiful. It's when things are scarce, that's when you start to appreciate things.
Yes, it does.
what I'm saying is it's easy to do. All right? For men to walk into a bar and get laid, they have to be accomplished. They have to have
So you're
buy
making
drinks.
it
They have to be
See, it's all true, but because the woman dynamic is included, she will remove all logical thinking. And it's crazy because all these guys up there know women will not think logically, especially about certain subjects, but will use analogies and examples using things that they know they will automatically short fucking circuit. You know, you have to use things that, you know, they're not going to be as emotionally tied into, but have the same dynamic.
Yeah,
That's not an excuse. That's the fact.
They have to have
I
something
think
to
that's an
offer.
excuse.
Exactly. And I mean, I'm not even that good looking, and I can just walk into a bar and just
You're
get laid.
She's not bad looking, honestly. I mean, people try to clown her, but like this, if she walks around like this, bro, she's gonna get some attention.
So
She's got big boobs and she's not ugly. I would give her face probably like a 6.5, 7, like average white girl face. You know, got a little makeup, whatever, but she's got big boobs and she doesn't look fat. At least like sitting down, she doesn't look, you know, that fat. So I mean,
True.
So
yes,
what,
you're beautiful.
what I'm trying to say
clear.
is that our society doesn't reward you for doing what's easy. See, women don't even have the capacity to really protect themselves. So when women go out, they don't realize, okay, I'm born with this value. I have the world in my hands, but
that is 100% true. The world is their oyster. A lot of them do not realize it, which is why I'm saying, guys, stop trying to talk to brick walls. People learn from experience or from things happening close enough to them. Okay? Right now, what a lot of you guys don't even realize is that the correction process is being slowed because you want to be out here playing Captain Save-A-Ho. No, don't do that. Having these pointless conversations. What needs to happen is the women that are going to be whores and hoes and fuck up their lives, they need to be allowed to do that. So all the girls that are close to them can sit there and have to make a decision. They have to sit there and say, I see my girlfriend of 10 years, of 15 years, self-destructing before my very eyes. Now, some will be blind and not realize what's going on and join her, and oh well. And then some will say, I need to fix my shit up so I don't end up like that. But you trying to save all these women because all you're doing is making them more rebellious because they want to show you how you're wrong. Okay? Like I said earlier, people learn from experience, not advice, or at least 90% of them don't. Some will learn from example. They might say, oh shit, damn, I probably shouldn't do that. But most people, it needs to happen to them or someone directly linked to them. Someone that is that close to them where they say, that just happened. Oh my God. He just got, wow, we were both selling drugs and he just got sentenced to this much time. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to stop this shit. I'm gonna have to figure something out before it happens to me. But when it happens to the guy across the street, you're just like, damn, that sucks, bruh. So these women need, some of them are gonna sink, some are gonna swim. But the ones that sink are actually gonna have more an impact on the ones that swim than these guys talking.
But instead, I'm gonna go be free and I'm just gonna give it to everybody and just basically diminish my own value.
She's
by the
right.
time that I'm old enough to realize what I'm worth.
Facts.
I've already given it all away.
She's
It's
right.
called being attractive and not attractive.
That's called being
No, we just, that's how little they listen when the woman dynamic is involved. They all just acknowledge that even an ugly woman can get laid, and she just tried to split it between being ugly and attractive.
oh,
well
sweetheart.
trained.
That's all it is.
Attractive men are hoes.
No. I mean, maybe at a young age where there isn't a demand or a need for anything else, but when you're a grown woman and now you're paying your own bills, automatically that man's finances matter. Because you need help. You need help taking care of your own life. You still want to go on trips, but now you have to actually budget yourself. But if you have a man that's doing very well, you don't have to budget yourself. You could just act a goddamn fool like you want. So, maybe young teenagers, early college years, yeah, you can be, just good looking and super not awkward socially and get laid. But after that, all that shit's out the window. Maybe you can get a drunk chick every once in a while at the bar, but I've seen attractive dudes fumble the bag, being too awkward, getting, tensing up and freezing up, not knowing how to close the deal. But a woman, she doesn't even have to worry about being socially awkward. There's a girl that I used to work with, she just left a couple weeks ago. When I tell you this girl was crazy, I actually think she was clinically crazy. And after 5 minutes, if you're not thinking with your dick, you could see it. I remember my first 5-minute conversation, I was like, damn, this bitch is hot. But after 5 minutes, I was like, yo, this girl's crazy. But guys would walk into that restaurant all day, every day. Here's my number. Giving her $100 tips just because she's hot. And she was fucking nuts. But you know what? That doesn't matter. With a guy, even if you're good looking, you still can't be too socially awkward. You can't be too creepy.
Also,
Yes, we are. But guess
period.
what? But here's the difference.
All of us are attractive in this room.
Listen. High status men don't commit to women who are hoes. They just don't. But
Neither
women
do
like
high
Future,
status
women
men.
like Future, men like Future, Drake, Nick Cannon. They got bitches throwing themselves at him. Dude, Nick Cannon's got 25 baby mamas, and he's probably got another bitch pregnant right now.
Yeah,
Why?
you do.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. And the
So
reason,
that's
and
why
stop,
your argument
please.
doesn't
No. I really, I'm
Hey.
gonna ask you very nice.
Stop going off, please. Yeah, it's annoying.
It is very, very difficult, even for high status men, to get laid. People are rewarded and revered for doing what's hard.
Exactly. And that's why wealth is a very good analogy to use, because it removes the female-male dynamic. Okay? Honestly, I've actually, in real life, have gotten positive reactions from women that say, okay, I get your point. By using that, because when you bring something that isn't sex centered, it's like their brain works normally. Okay?
it's not easy for men to get laid. Even when I was at the height of my Vegas powers, I'm up to my eyeballs and cocaine and strippers and all these cars. It was still hard for me to get laid, but any average looking woman could walk into a bar and she can get laid just like that.
All true.
People are not going to revere you for doing what's easy. That's
True.
this is why stuff.
Like, there's not documentaries based on trust fund kids unless they accomplish something so remarkable. But usually the movies are made on the people with the most hardships. Like, that's just a fact. There's biopics and movies made on people that, you know, came up out the mud. People that lost their two parents at a young age and were homeless and still went to a great college. They make movies about those people. They don't make movies about the kid that went to high school, learned how to drive at 16, got a Chevy Tahoe, went to school, worked as an accountant, you know, for 40 years, saved up and bought a nice big house, you know, when he was 60 years old. No movies are made on that. The only time they're made on someone that didn't have a hard life growing up is if they did something like, I don't know, say, you know, started Microsoft, something that's like literally world changing, or they turn into like some kind of fucking psycho murderer. Outside of that, people like that aren't getting a movie made out of. Otherwise, the people that have had hard roads in life, even if they didn't amount to anything, just having that struggle is something that people are drawn to and attracted to. Like, wow, like Monster Cody, one of the best, you know, he had a best-selling book, and he was just talking about how he was living in this gangster life and, you know, had this tough card and going to prison for all this time and changed his life around. People celebrated that because of all the fucked up shit he had to deal with before he changed his life. Okay, when things are easy, it's uninteresting and people kind of resent you for it because their life wasn't that easy. It's not relatable.
Studs are praised and sluts are admonished. That's it. And this is evolutionary biology.
See, once he starts talking about this, most women are gonna just fucking block that shit out. This is guy talk. This is you, like, if you're talking to a man, because men are very analytical, data-driven, things like that. So talking about biological and imperatives, and bro, these women are lost, bro. They're not trying to talk about that.
It's nothing to do with the patriarchy. What's the first thing you call a woman when you don't like her? You call her a hoe. Exactly. Exactly. What's the first thing? There you go.
I call her a bitch.
I call her a bitch.
Stop capping. The women call each other hoes all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, like literally Twitter had a study where they showed that women call each other sluts way more than men.
But when men call each other, we call them losers. Oh, you're an incel, you can't get laid. It's literally the same thing. So listen, you can make all the excuses you want.
I mean, it is the same thing, but like I said, they're not gonna digest that information or ingest that information because they're attached to the sex, because you've created now a team dynamic where it's like my team versus your team. And we know how sports fanatics are. There's people that will paint themselves, go to games, be half naked in 15-degree weather standing in there because they are attached to that team. And right now he's created this team dynamic, and in a team dynamic, there's always opposition. Okay, so right now it's in her mind, men versus women. He might be thinking, hey, I'm just trying to give you some information. She's thinking of it as men versus women. And when you create that competition, people do not want to lose. Okay?
But women are hoes and men are studs. That's all there is to it. Yeah.
But yeah, man, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you think my wealth analogy works better than what they do, because every time they do it, you could just see the blood boiling in these women. And like I said, I've had real world conversations using that, and I've had women acknowledge that they understand. And don't use the key to lock thing. That's stupid and played out, because now you're objectifying them. Am I an object? You're giving them a lot of this these outs that they can use, you know, with the whole patriarchy and sexism shit. But when you compare wealth and how it's looked at as a, when something's earned as opposed to when something's given, they understand it better, at least in my experience. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm out.